I've helped a lot of different families buy investment properties in Oregon. And one of the things I've found is that there's a lot of things about investing in real estate, specifically residential real estate. There's a lot of things that people just don't know. And so one of the things I'm going to be doing in this video and in future videos is talking about some of the basics of investing in real estate in Oregon specifically. If you watch this video and you like it, feel free to subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be putting more videos out like this about investing in real estate in Oregon. If you have a specific topic you'd like to learn more about, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section and I'd be happy to make a video about that at some point in the future. If you are wanting to buy a rental property in Oregon, you can also just reach out to me directly. My number and email are right there at the bottom of the screen. If you live in Oregon and are thinking about investing in real estate, there are several questions that you need to ask yourself first. Buying a rental property as an investment is obviously a pretty big deal and should be something that no one does on a whim. And I'm a firm believer that no matter what you're investing, whether it's stocks, bonds, ETFs, real estate, whatever it is, you should at least have a pretty good basic understanding of what the economics are and how that actual investment tool works. So some of these questions I cover are going to be fairly high level, just about how real estate investing works, how it works in Oregon. And these questions should kind of be a filter to help you decide if, one, real estate investing is right for you, and also if real estate investing in Oregon is right for you or not. So the first question you need to ask yourself is, do you believe in the health of the real estate market? Again, before investing in anything, stocks, bonds, whatever, you have to understand what it is. You have to feel comfortable with that investment tool, and it has to match your long-term goals. Recently did a video, which you can watch right there, about whether or not the Oregon real estate market is going to crash this year. Spoiler alert, it's not. But regardless of what I say or any of the other housing market experts say, you have to personally feel comfortable in it and know that if you make that investment, it's going to be a good one. If you're on the fence and you have more questions, go ahead and watch that video. And if you have more questions after that, you can also reach out to me directly and I'd be happy to steer you in the right direction. The second question to ask yourself is, what are your goals? Again, whatever your investment tool is, it has to match your goals. So when it comes to real estate, there's two main factors to consider. The first one is cash flow. Are you just about, you want to see cash coming in more than the money you're spending on your mortgage and all your other expenses? Or are you more interested in growing wealth long term? These are two very different things and you can't pursue both at the same time. So you have to decide which one is most important to you. If the most important thing to you is cash flow and you're not coming in with a huge down payment, Oregon may actually not be a very good fit for you because the ratio of the rental payments to what you'd be paying for a mortgage for the price of property is actually very skewed against receiving cash flow. So many times you may not cash flow immediately. If your primary concern is cash flow, there's other areas in the country that might be a better option. And I'll talk about this in a little bit. If immediate cash flow is not the most important thing to you and you're looking at either growing wealth you have long-term or maybe growing wealth you currently have even more, Oregon actually could be a really good option. Oregon is what we call a high appreciation state, meaning over time, the values of real estate in Oregon continue to go up. The historic appreciation over the last 60 years or so is between 5 and 6%. And over the next 5 to 10 years, it's likely to be somewhere in that range as well. What that means is if you buy a $500,000 rental property, that on average is gonna go up somewhere in that $25,000 range per year. Now that $25,000 is not going to be money in your pocket. It's just going to be equity that you have as that rental property appreciates over time. So those are, again, a really important distinction to make. Also, while a home may not cash flow immediately, for a $500,000 home, your rent's probably going to be in the neighborhood of about $2,500 per month. So over a year, that's about $30,000. You've got all your expenses to pay and you're not going to see that immediately, especially if your mortgage payment is higher than that. But again, that appreciation, so $25,000 a year from appreciation, $30,000 from that money coming in, that's helping you pay off your mortgage and your other expenses, that can add up over time. So again, from a wealth growth standpoint, that can be a really good option. The next question you should ask is, do you really need to be in the same area or the same state as the properties you're investing in? If that's something you feel is important, you want to be around the properties that you own, then if you live in Oregon, obviously you'd need to invest in Oregon. But if, again, your main concern is cash flow and you feel you don't really necessarily need to be in the same state where you're investing, there's other areas that might be better fit. And if that's you, reach out to me because I have contacts across the country who specialize in helping people cash flow immediately in some of the fastest growing markets in the whole country. So again, if you're not specific to Oregon and you're concerned with cash flow more than long-term wealth creation, reach out to me because you may be surprised at what there is available out there. The next question to ask yourself is, can you handle tough landlord laws? Oregon does not favor landlords when it comes to the laws that have been passed, and every bill that gets passed typically makes it even tougher on landlords. Again, this is kind of a double-edged sword. I'm not going to get into this too much, but you got to think about if you're making it harder and harder for landlords to be landlords in Oregon, then there's not going to be as many landlords and there's not going to be as many rental properties. So you have to be careful with how we treat landlords, and if we push them all out and there's no rental properties for anyone, that's going to be pretty bad news. We're already starting to see some of that. I'm not going to get into that much more than that. The point is, there are a lot of good things about investing in Oregon. And to be honest, most of the laws that have been passed are pretty reasonable, honestly. It's just kind of like, you got to be a good person. You can't be a jerk. You can't evict people for no reasons. And you can't just drastically increase out of nowhere what you're charging someone. You do have to be very careful and selective about who you have as a tenant if you're a landlord, because if you need to give them the boot, you can't just do it on a whim. There has to be a really good reason. It can be a process. And if they are resistant to moving out, it can raise problems. So something to just consider. In other parts of the country, you can kind of do whatever you want as a landlord. Oregon is just not that way. All of these questions are important no matter where you decide to buy real estate, but it's also helpful specifically for Oregon. Again, this is just a very high level overview. If you feel after watching this that, yeah, there's no way that you can handle being a landlord, or maybe real estate investing is not the right option for you. If on the other hand, you live in Oregon, you want to have rental properties close to where you are, you're more interested in growing wealth long-term rather than just receiving immediate cash flow, then investing in rental properties in Oregon could be a really good option. If you do feel like buying an Oregon rental property is right for you, reach out to me and I'd be happy to answer your questions and at least point you in the right direction if I can't help you personally. Also, if you're wanting to learn more about investing in Oregon real estate, please leave a comment in the comment section about what topics you'd like to learn more about. I love teaching this stuff. I love helping people build their wealth long-term through real estate. I think it's a really good tool and would be happy to do topics that people would find interesting. Well, I hope this video gave you some good things to think about, and there's a ton of other videos in our channel about real estate and also where I live, specifically in Newberg. Well, I hope you found this video helpful and then it gave you some good things to think about, and I hope to see you around in one of the next videos we make.